Hey, I'm Amy Walker, and thanks for joining me for Business Coach Reacts to Top 20 Trends in 2022. Let's check out what we've got coming down the pipeline.
Though we aren't quite there yet, the world is shifting away from the chaos phase of the pandemic and inching closer to recovery. Post-COVID exuberance, increased eco-friendliness, and unexpected generational shifts. The top 20 trends of 2022 show we're moving into an exciting time of change. At number 20 is NFT art. NFT
I don't get this one.
You've probably heard a lot of this past year. It stands for non-fungible tokens, which Wikipedia explains as units.
I don't know what it is about NFT, but it just really makes me think of like people collecting Beanie Babies and thinking that they were going to become Beanie Baby millionaire collectibles. And then nobody wanted them later. That's kind of how I feel about this. And maybe it could totally be a generational thing, but I'm like, why do I want to own art that I can't hang on my wall? This whole digital art thing is making no sense to me.
Of data stored on digital ledgers called a blockchain to certify digital assets. In this case, those assets are art. If a creative offers their art as an NFT, they create a kind of virtual exclusivity.
But doesn't that exclusivity mean that like only one person could buy it? That just, I don't know. This one, I get it. People are doing NFT. It's a thing. I personally am not their target demographic because I don't get it. Maybe I'm just too old.
Around the piece, with one example being Kings of Leon's recently released album, which was the first ever to be made into an NFT. At number 19, in-game inclusion is showing the way forward for the world of gaming. In what's traditionally been
this is a positive change.
Inclusion.
My kids were watching Pokemon once, and it was during Black History Month, and one of my sons was like, why are there no brown people in Pokemon? I was like, good question.
Storylines, responding to the growing calls for the industry to cater to everyone. 18 on our list is
I don't really love this
medicinal and recreational plant is
because a lot of these summer products are geared towards younger audiences. So
everything
not my fave, but is what it is.
Cannabis freebies offer
cannabis freebies, that totally seems like geared towards children.
Number 17, car-free retail shows
this I
how
like.
Businesses, urban planning, and architecture can come together to create more eco-friendly cities. Pedestrian and cyclist-only neighborhoods and retail developments show an exciting, more sustainable.
Now, I gotta say, I wouldn't want to live in a pedestrian-only neighborhood, but I would love to have more pedestrian accessible places. Where I live, I'm out in the country anyway, so like you pretty much have to have a car. You can't get anywhere. But in bigger cities, I love the idea of building a community around walking and cycling and biking. But like if I couldn't even get my car there to like move my stuff in or unload my groceries, I wouldn't be too pleased about that.
Sustainable way forward for design and urban planning. And number 16 is generation dating.
So happy I'm married.
Almost entirely digital over the last year, the use of apps that connect users romantically went up.
Oh my goodness, what a hard year to be dating when you are so isolated and like starved for interaction, and yet all you've got is virtual. I cannot tell you how much like I salute all of you who are in this pool and having to do this, because every time I see things like this, I'm like, I'm so glad I'm married and I don't have to enter that dating pool. But I do like that they're creating more opportunities to actually interact instead of just finding each other.
Where before these apps mostly targeted millennials, they're now accommodating the digital habits of older Gen Z to bring them into the fold. Everything from TikTok-style videos to meme sharing are being used in new dating app formats to connect to the Zoomer. Carbon offset comes in at 15, with brands in the food and beverage industry looking to reduce the impact on the
totally a fan of this.
Carbon neutral and offsetting production processes. As the competition for eco-friendly products becomes more intense, brands are having to make authentic changes in order to draw in and excite customers. At number 14 is Activism PopUp, which takes the exclusivity associated with pop-ups and links it to activism in order to build a sense of community and togetherness as well as understanding. Sharing these common spaces helps social.
So I like this, and I would love to see this turn into not just activism, because sometimes I think, don't get me wrong, I think activism can get a lot of change done, but I think sometimes it overlooks the ability to bring people together of like different belief systems and different ideology to just get some stuff done. So I would love to also see some pop-up service going on, and there are opportunities for it all over. There's an organization that I volunteer with called justserve.org, where you can go and just look up places to serve in your community. So I've done it a handful of times this year where we just pick a thing, we show up, we serve. You never know who you're serving alongside, but you know you're solving a problem within your community. So I'd like to see that expand, because sometimes activism can be isolating in the sense of you're only around people who see the world the same way that you do. And I think that's one of the big problems with our world right now. I think we need more coming together to solve problems within our communities. Let's just leave it at that.
Momentum. Coming in at 13 is accessible care, where
this one's a really
platforms
positive
are
one
being
as well.
designed around marginalized communities that are often underserved when it comes to their health.
There have been studies that show the level of medical care combined with the level of income and education, and that people who have less education receive poorer medical care. And I gotta tell you, as somebody who is not always dressing up and doing her hair and makeup, and somebody who is also self-employed and pays for everything out of pocket, and then I have a program where I get reimbursed afterwards, but like I sometimes show up looking like a scrounge, I get it, and my care is not as good because I'm self-pay and I'm not fancy and dressed up, even though I could pay for I can always pay for it in cash, and like, here you go. It's a totally different than if I show up actually dressed for business. But I mean, here's the thing. When my kids are sick, it's not like I'm getting dressed up to go to the doctor. That's crazy.
Everything from cost accessibility to the inclusion of trans people is now being prioritized by these more accessible healthcare platforms. At number 12 is P2P Community, where we're seeing a growing number of platforms that offer activism.
Gosh, that was
and community
huge in the
support
last
for
year.
issues like mental health. These have become especially popular.
It's so hard to even find a therapist right now because so many people are just booked up because the isolation and the stress and just there's being cooped up at home with people that you thought that you liked but really just didn't spend a lot of time with. This has been a huge year for domestic violence and mental health on the rise. Like, this is really, really needed.
And necessary in the past year as in-person support diminished for people all over the world under pandemic restrictions. Examples include addiction recovery support apps and online BIPOC wellness communities. At number 11, we have Low Alcohol Bar.
I'm not a drinker, so I don't have like a big thought about this.
These age groups have missed social connection as much as anyone else in the last year, and so the idea of partying looks quite different. In this post-COVID world, restaurants and bars will offer low alcohol menus that target young people who are more interested in connecting with friends than excessive drinking. At number 10 is International Keto, where North American brands that offer ketogenic
I think in general, the taste palette of the millennials is definitely expanded from Gen Z. So this doesn't surprise me. I could see this coming where, you know, the just diversity of types of food and their flavor palette has expanded. So it makes sense that we'd be pulling this into keto.
Taking cues from global flavors, particularly Asian ones.
Offerings I do sometimes like keto stuff because it's low sugar.
Come in response to consumers
demanding
more diversity in the diets they subscribe to. At number 9 is Farm to Phone.
Our food quality has gone down. If you go and buy lettuce from the farmer's market versus you buy lettuce from the grocery store, in a few days it's gone bad from the grocery store, whereas I just got home from a trip and my lettuce that I bought at the farmer's market 2 weeks ago is still good. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. So, but I always have time to go to the farmer's market. And to be honest, the farmer's market has been closed a lot. So being able to go directly online and take your products to your consumers, great. Everybody needs that. And it's more convenient. Even though the farmer's market is fun, it's for me like a once every other month kind of an activity, whereas buying it straight from my phone, having it delivered, I would do that on a regular basis.
From local farmers via digital means. This convergence has been especially useful as COVID-19 restrictions were limiting in-store or market interactions between small business owners and their customers. However, post-COVID, this will continue.
Yeah, it will.
And number 8 is Nature Novice.
Oh, this is a
another
good
trend
one.
that's popped up as a result of the pandemic.
Everybody is going out in nature now. We bought some paddle boards and maybe buying some kayaks here soon.
With many forms of travel and tourism not currently an option, outdoor adventure tourism has seen a surge in popularity. Brands are accommodating those who are new to this form of travel with slow-paced cycling trips, hiking routes, ways to ease you into the fun of reconnecting with nature. Another travel-related shift can be seen in our 7th trend,
also known as the glamp.
As travel restrictions ease up, people are itching to get outside and feel the freedom they've been missing in the last year. Things like camping and adventure-based tourism are surging in popularity and being made more accessible for beginners, as traveling and being in nature.
So I will tell you, I don't mind camping, but I much prefer glamping, like having a nice cot and a beautiful location, access to showers, all of those things make it so much more enjoyable. But I agree. I think a lot of people were, I don't know, I got this way where I was like, I've got to get out of this house. Like we got to be in 4 different walls. They don't have to be these ones, but we have got to get out. And camping, definitely. We went, I think a lot of people went because it was hard to find a campsite.
Nature becomes a priority for everyone. Sanitization health comes in at number 6, where the popularity of the skincare industry merges with this past year's focus on personal hygiene and produces hand sanitizers as a part of consumer skincare.
Yeah,
routines.
and hopefully they don't make your
Brands are
skin
responding to this
peel
with
off and
sanitizing
crack.
products that mimic the sophisticated formula or beautiful packaging typically seen in the skincare space.
That makes sense.
And number 5 is Health Hub, an extension of Smart Home that prioritizes the personal health of users.
I think in general, health has been so on top of mind recently that we've all been, paying closer attention to it. Well, and also some of us gained a lot of extra weight during the pandemic. So
Everything from
we're ready
sleep
to get back on
medication
track.
tracking is now being managed by connected hubs with products like Amazon's Alexa offering audio reminders. And a different type of health
Oh my
focus
gosh,
can
I
be
so
seen in
have
our
tech
4th
fatigue.
trend, tech fatigue. Changes to both social and professional lifestyles over the past year have necessitated a complete transition to digital. But tech fatigue has become a consequence of this shift.
Yeah, eye strain, headaches. I mean, even my youngest child, he's about to turn 9. He has been having some eye-related headaches from just being on the screen too much. Because it's not just that they're at Zoom all the time, but they've upgraded to using a lot more technology. So their Zoom time or their computer and screen time at school has gone up a lot because they got devices for every kid. So now they're using them on a regular basis. So this one is legit.
Some are battling this form of burnout with everything from social media blocking to more inclusive virtual spaces that allow.
I will say this has been big. This is why we switched our events this last year to a new platform called AirMeet, because I wanted people to be able to interact and move like they would at a real in-person conference and not just feel like they're stuck in a Zoom room getting numb bum while they sit and watch other people talk. I wanted them to feel like they could participate and create connections.
Different kinds of engagement. At number 3 is Boomer Tech, where digital habits that have typically been common among younger demographics have seen a boost among older demographics. Everything from virtual fitness to social apps like Snapchat are seeing a huge increase in membership from baby boomers and older generations.
I love the
Coming in at number 2 is
grandfluencers.
Millennial Move, which addresses the lifestyle transitions that many millennials have faced amid the pandemic. High living costs in cities, a lessened need to commute, job losses, growing families, and generally reevaluating life goals have all contributed to millennials moving away from the fast-paced urban lifestyle. What we're seeing are brands, organizations, etc. helping to facilitate this shift with everything from remote work stays to adaptable modular homes.
Yeah, the millennial generation is so interesting because they have a clearly defined set of values that comes first in their decision making, and it's really different from everyone else that has come before. So this doesn't surprise me. I personally have seen clients who have like sold houses and they're now moving outside of the US. They're making their decisions around what's going to create the lifestyle they want for themselves and their family, not based on the paycheck and the mortgage payment and all of that stuff that everyone traditionally wanted.
And last but not least is Gen Z creative. This is a trend that's been in development over the past year in particular, but will continue to dominate creative, entertainment, and pop cultural spaces. What it is Gen Z looking to develop skills outside of the traditional school system and instead using them to their benefit. Building a sense of creativity, seeking a sense of fulfillment, and yes, maybe monetizing these skills to secure their futures. This generation is leading the way as the Roaring 20s finally commence. Thanks for watching our top 20 trends of 2022.
Cool. So much good stuff in there. I will say, I think that this pandemic, this global timeout that we all experienced together did give people a hunger for some creativity and something to tap into. And Gen Z is just really plugged in. And so their creativity is showing up in a lot of very digital ways. Like, I gotta tell you, I'm developing a new love for TikTok just because it is so fun to see so many different creators on there creating fun, engaging, short, fast-paced content. So there you have it. Those are the top 20 trends for 2022. Some of them, like, I don't know. I mean, really, who wants to buy, like, I don't get it. Who wants to buy digital, like, rights to something that is art that's never going to hang on your wall and you're never going to get to see it or interact with it? Or I don't know, like, to me, like, imagine a Van Gogh just sitting on your laptop knowing that you owned it. To me, that's the biggest waste. Like, I want it to be out there impacting as many people as possible. So some are good, some maybe not so much. We'll see if NFT turns into the new Beanie Babies. If it does, you heard it here first. All right, if you want more content like this, go ahead and check out our Business Coach Reacts playlist. Thanks for being here, and make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel and hit the notification bell so you can get notified every time we release new content, which is daily. Thanks for being here.